In this episode, the fourth and final of this introductory video series on the existential implications of the question of the nature of reality, the topic will be nothing less than the meaning of life itself. So, the mainstream conception of reality today is the thesis of physicalism. The idea that the only things that exist independently are physical things, and that consciousness is simply a product of what happens in the brain. If this thesis is true, then it raises questions about the meaning of life, or maybe the meaning of conscious life. If physicalism is true, then fundamentally there's no meaning to life. From a biological point of view, one could argue that there's a meaning to life through reproduction. We must grow up, get old enough to reproduce, and take care of our children, allowing them to grow up and reproduce, and so on. But arguably, that's not meaning in a deeper sense. Ultimately, in 100 years, I'll be dead, gone, and everything I've done will be long forgotten. From a perspective like that, it seems that I can do whatever I like. There are no objective restrictions on my behavior ethically. Why should I be a good person instead of a bad person? The only thing that exists are just physical things, matter, and the laws of nature, and that's it. That would be a nihilistic approach to life. And with that, there's no actual or deeper meaning to life. So, life ends when you die, make the best out of it. As I've argued in the previous episodes, there are good reasons for questioning physicalism and considering alternatives. And that then would open up different ideas on the meaning of life. In the research done on near-death experiences, a major finding is that according to people having those experiences, life is fundamentally about becoming a morally better or a good person, acting in an altruistic way, being kind to others, and so on. And secondly, it's about obtaining knowledge and insight and generally achieving greater understanding. So, that would be something quite different from, some mainstream conceptions of what is important in life, such as career, social status, material possessions. It may also be different from the kind of limited altruism towards family and friends that many people take to be a core part of the meaning of life, not favoring even family and friends over other people. This matches, at least the first part, all of the major religions. The notion of loving one's neighbor, being a good Samaritan, and so on. But it isn't grounded in a religious dogma or doctrine. It's grounded in direct experiences explored by the scientific research. There are also strong philosophical viewpoints supporting such an approach to life. In the Greek tradition, the idea of virtue was explored, most prominently by Aristotle. The idea here is that you're not yet a fully developed human. You're like a seed having the potential to grow into a fully grown tree. But that's a long journey. What you have to do is develop into or become a virtuous person, an ethical person. You must become just and kind and wise. There are a number of virtues. Thus, the idea here is that you should strive towards becoming a better person. When you reach the end point, if it's possible to get that far, that is when you have actually become the virtuous person. You no longer have to force or restrain yourself in ethical matters. I would like to do this, but I should be an ethical person, so instead I'll have to do that. You simply have become the kind of person who, by nature, just does the morally right thing every time. You know what's the right thing, or at least the best thing to do in any given situation, because you have achieved insight and wisdom as well. So that's the basic idea. a sort of personal development, aiming at becoming an ethical and wise person. Another great philosopher, Plato, holds a dualistic view of reality. According to his allegory of the cave, there's the physical world, or the empirical world, and then there's the world of ideas, a world that transcends the empirical realm. That is the world one should strive to reach. And in Plato's worldview, this is also closely related to becoming a better person through insight and wisdom, ethically enriching your soul. So there are very old philosophical traditions that support the idea that we should aim to become a wiser and more ethical person. And moreover, according to these traditions, this is the path towards the happy life. So you don't get the happy life or the good life or the satisfying life by just being egoistic and selfish. Instead, it's by being altruistic and unselfish. That's the journey. And interestingly, that is exactly what the people who had near-death experiences claim as well. So, on one hand, we have the physicalist worldview, but there are other philosophical views to be found. Spinoza, for example, whom I mentioned in episode 2, constructed a comprehensive metaphysical system, in which the physical is not the most fundamental thing as physicalism would have it. Rather, on Spinoza's view, the physical and the mental are two equal aspects of the one underlying reality. Another different and quite interesting worldview, not much known but worth exploring, I think, is that of a Danish thinker and mystic even, named Martinus. He understands the world quite differently from the physicalist understanding. According to his view, we have an eternal inner core, we might say, and we each live through many individual lives. Plato might have believed something somewhat similar, it seems. And during those lives, we develop intellectually and ethically. We start out, so to speak, being very egoistic, not caring much for other people. Perhaps we like to be in charge and hold power over others, or perhaps we even want to dominate or hurt other people. But then what happens is that in some of our lives, we might hold a powerful position and we dominate the people around us. But in other lives, we are the ones being dominated. And we then experience the effects of domination and indifference or cruelty. So slowly we gain increasingly more insight because we get to understand how it feels to be on the receiving end of tyranny, how it is to suffer, etc. And because of this, we grow in our capacity for empathy. So as we move further upwards ethically, it becomes harder for us to hurt other people. And in the end, we simply cannot do it. We develop into more and more ethical beings, all while achieving greater wisdom as well. So, according to this line of thought, different people are at different stages of development. Some people are by nature less ethical than others. Some people strive to become ethical. And some people, probably not many, just are inherently ethical. They simply cannot cause other people harm. So this is, quite a different worldview compared to the physicalist position, but it is advantageous in that it seems to be more consistent than physicalism when it comes to some of the issues I've mentioned in this series. Genuine free will seems incompatible with physicalism, for example. According to this worldview, the physical world is the appearance of what really exists. What does this mean? For one, all the results of the natural sciences are fully accepted. the scientists have achieved a very deep understanding of how the natural world, the physical world operates, how the world of appearance operates. That is the world that we find ourselves in, that we live in. So, in a sense, that's the real world. But the assumption, usually tied to the natural sciences, that physicalism is true, is rejected in the worldview of Martinus. In this view, we consist of an internal core or deepest self, not exactly a soul as that term is often used in religious contexts, but an experiencing self that exists eternally. This allows for a certain amount of free will within certain limits, because it holds that the will is not a product of physical processes in the brain, as in physicalism, but instead originates from this core or deepest self. If you are at one point in the line of development, what you want to do here, what you will here, is to act in a certain way. At this point, you will something else, and here you will something else again. So, if you are this person who has the insight and who is the altruistic person, the ethical person, you understand that the people here simply are not capable of doing actions all different from the actions they actually do. So when they don't act in an ethical manner, you kind of understand it. This doesn't mean that they should be allowed to take over everything or dominate you or your life, but you understand them, and so you don't need to act negatively towards them. Through this understanding, you are able to elevate yourself above the primitive impulses of revenge, hate, dislike, slander, resentment, and so on. Okay, so this worldview is able to account for the intuition that we have genuine free will, at least to a degree, which, as mentioned, physicalism cannot. When it comes to the question of life after death, there actually is continued existence after death according to this worldview of Martinus. And what is crucially important according to this view is becoming a better person and acquiring knowledge and insight. And this matches very well, perfectly almost, the experiences that people who have had near-death experiences report. So here as well we find that this worldview shows an advantage over the physicalist view. It simply matches the findings of the research much better. Also, the doctrine of physicalism has a very hard time indeed explaining how a person can have conscious experience when the brain is shut down, as it has apparently actually happened according to a major research study. That should quite literally be impossible according to that doctrine. So, this short introduction of the views of Martinus illustrates that there are worldviews other than physicalism to be found, views that seem better able to handle some of the issues physicalism faces. Okay, so depending on which metaphysical position one prefers, there'll be quite different answers to the question, what is the meaning of life? If one subscribes to physicalism, then ultimately there's no meaning. One has to create one's own subjective feeling of meaning in life, perhaps. And then one dies and it's all over. On the other hand, if one subscribes to the idea that physicalism is, or at least might be, false, it opens up space for other answers to the question of the meaning of life. And it then seems to be the case that some of the most important factors in life, perhaps even the most important factors, depending on exactly which worldview is adopted, are becoming a better person, living an ethical life, which would lead to a happier life, and acquiring knowledge and insight and ultimately wisdom. Alright, so to conclude, I cannot provide a final answer to the question of the meaning of life. But it is my hope that the material I have discussed in this video series has provided some material that is useful for considering what life and existence might be all about. While this short series is intended as just an introduction to the subject, I hope that it manages to show that the question of the nature of reality is intimately linked to deep existential aspects of life, and that this question is therefore one of crucial importance and worth exploring further. Thank you very much for watching.